So, today I want to talk about the persistent yet erroneous notion of mind body dualism. This is the notion that somehow our brains are separate from our bodies, and this is contrary to the basis of who we are as beings. The basis of our beingness is our holistic embodiment. We are embodied, our brains and our bodies are one. I don't often use other people's videos because I think that mine really speak for themselves. I try not to draw other people into arguments. But today, I think this is a really illustrative example. So I'm using a video from this guy, Psi Body Therapy. He's an anatomy teacher, and he really highlights this notion of Cartesian mind-body dualism. And he's not really looking at our holistic experiencing of ourselves and how the brain actually is part of the body and works into processing the body's signals. So we're going to look at his video and I'm going to break it apart. I'm going to let him start.
Joe Merica here is upset because I said you can be a woman without a uterus. Now, to me, as an anatomy person, this seems like a foregone conclusion because there are people out there who identify as women who have had their uterus or ovaries or other parts removed, and I assume they continue their lives unfazed and are still a woman up here.
So there's a lot that he gets right and that I agree with, but there are some really essential things that he gets wrong. So obviously I agree, a woman can have her uterus removed or her ovaries removed and still be a woman. And in fact, to have one's uterus or ovaries removed is a uniquely female experience. Only a woman or a girl can have that experience. It's unique to being a woman. A man cannot have those experiences. So this has nothing to do with an identity concept that I hold about myself. It has nothing to do with how I perceive or think about myself. This is a physical experience. And he ends this by saying that the woman who has her uterus or ovaries removed is still a woman up here. Now, this I disagree with because the point is she is still a woman in here. She is still a woman physically in her body. She is still physically experiencing a female developmental path. She does not change over into a male sexual development path. She is still physically experiencing herself on that female sexual developmental path. She is a woman in her body through and through. Her brain is simply where she is processing the physical sensations of her female body. That woman is still going to go through menopause, physically experiencing herself as a woman. And she is likely going to have repercussions. There are often side effects and complications from having your uterus or ovaries removed. So these are still physical complications that specifically pertain to being a female adult human in a female adult body, being embodied. All right, we're going to let him go on again.
And the definition that they think is BS is the fact that I say sex is a parts thing and gender is a brain thing. And here I just want to talk directly to you, Joe. For the sake of this, I'm going to assume that you are a male in parts and a man in your brain.
Okay, so here's where he's getting into that Cartesian brain-body split. Yes, we are our parts. I am my body. We are our bodies. There is no mind-body duality. Sex is one part of the physical developmental process that we are on as human beings. Being a human is its own entirety of a physical development process. We are on this path. There's no jumping tracks. There's no getting off the path. Gender is a concept. It's a culturally created, abstract concept belief system. It has no basis in physical material reality. It's it's made up. It's part of culture. It's not something that we can actually experience. So my body is my body, regardless of what I believe about myself. Now he goes on to we're gonna let him posit this situation, but he starts by saying, Joe, you are a man, you are a male in your body, and you're a man in your brain. Well, our brains are processing units. Our brains are processing the physical sensations of our bodies. They are how we sense what we sense. We are our bodies. Our brains are our bodies, and our brains are physically processing our bodies. So regardless of how we conceptualize ourselves, our brains are always processing the physical sensations of our bodies. We're going to let him set up this scenario now.
So if we were, say, 10 years in the future, and you were in a car accident, and I could take your brain, okay, and take it, but the only available recipient was a female body. But your male brain is going into a female body. When you woke up and you looked down and you maybe saw that you had breasts and a vulva and appeared female, I do not think that this would change your brain's opinion of your manliness.
So this hypothetical is both erroneous and irrelevant. So it is irrelevant because in the current situation of quote unquote gender identity, men who claim that they are a woman's identity have no basis of understanding the material reality of what a woman is. The man who claims that he is a trans woman only ever experiences himself as a man in his male body, constantly flooded with male physical sensations in his male body, regardless of the external, superficial measures that he takes to change his body that may include hormones and it may include plastic surgery. He is still experiencing the impacts of hormones in his male body. He is still experiencing plastic surgery in his male body. He is still only flooded with the physical sensations of being on a male physical developmental path. So his brain and his body are one. So there is no point at which a man stops experiencing himself as male. That never happens to a man who is claiming an opposite sex identity. Okay, he is thinking about himself using stereotypes, objectification, ideas in his head that he thinks about being a woman. That is what he is using to conclude that he is a woman identity. This is an abstract conceptualization that is actually dehumanizing, objectifying, and very sexist towards women because it creates the notion that women are conceptualized identities. So he is never able to experience anything related to being a woman. Further, it sets up this thought experiment that he has taken us on, sets up an erroneous idea. Okay, that a man who calls himself a trans woman is somehow experiencing himself in a female body. That's never happening. That never happens. This thought experiment is not what is happening with these men who are holding a concept in their mind, calling themselves abstract identity labels. That never happens. So he's creating this thought experiment that sets you up to think that that is what these men are experiencing, but in fact, they're never experiencing it. They are only ever experiencing themselves as male. They are never not experiencing themselves as male. So it doesn't matter what they think about themselves. What matters is the experience that they are having. Their holistic embodiment is male. That is the developmental path that they are on. It starts at conception and it doesn't end until death. So I hope this video has really helped you debunk the erroneous notion of the Cartesian mind-body dualism split, and I hope that it really helps you understand how we are fully embodied, whole human beings.